Hello, Martin. Welcome to Landing America for accepting my invitation to the show.
Hi, Tatiana.
You were here in Miami on vacation. I wanted you to share with the world your experience as a tourist, as someone who had ESTA to come and visit.
Thanks for a warm introduction and welcome and hello to all of the listeners. I'm happy to be here. And as you said, I've been recently to USA to tell you more about how I felt there. Where I would start is maybe at the beginning where I planned all of this. And of course, it started maybe earlier than thought. It started maybe in the childhood as a dream, watching some movies. And the dream has been born there. After a few years, I planned this trip finally, and it was a spontaneous decision. At one day, I just woke up and found out that there is a airline ticket, which is really cheap to my taste, and I found out that this is the date and this is the time that I would like to go.
If I may ask, how much were the tickets and where were you looking for them?
It was fairly cheap, as I said. It's 312 euros. And I found out on the Instagram there is a page Svetom, which is like promoting a lot of great deals for the airline tickets. And I bought it like a straight click through from the Skyscanner because I always check the prices to be the best from the Skyscanner and sometimes recheck the Google flights.
It was a return ticket?
Yes.
And you came with a friend. Was it planned or did he just join you?
I planned this spontaneously to go by myself, but of course, when I told my friends that I'm going there, that of course there was somebody who would like to go as well. It's a great place to go. My friend decided to join me, and it was a great decision because to go alone, I would say it's not as good as going with your friend or your loved one, sharing the costs, having fun, and sharing the experience.
Of course, 100% I agree. Where did you look up the information about getting your visa to go to America?
Right, that was one of the last things before my flight because, of course, I knew that I had to do the ESTA. But for me, of course, I left it for one of the last things to pack into the bag. And I searched through web, and it was quite a cumbersome process actually, because I thought it's so easy. Everybody told me that it should take like 15 minutes, but at the end, I was going through several pages. First one, I looked over to the Google and tried to find the cheapest way to get to the ESTA. But I was so lazy that I clicked on the first link, of course, filled all the details, and then at the end, after like 10 minutes of filling all the details, it asked me for like $60. For me, I knew that it's too much and it shouldn't be this pricey. Then I searched again and found a cheaper option, which is $21 or euros. It was euros, I think. And it was the same process. The page looked almost the same, but it required all the same details. From the details, if you'd like to know, there is nothing too personal or something that you would have to search for on the internet or somewhere. Maybe just be sure that you have no criminal records, which is quite important. And yeah, that's mostly it. If it's for you, then you'll be able to fill the ESTA easily.
I also remember when I was getting my ESTA, I think I was getting it from a third-party page. I remember I paid like 50 euros back then. Do you remember any other questions they were asking? I think what I remember is that they were asking if you visited certain countries in the past few months or years, but my memory is not very clear on that.
I remember they asked whether I visited Cuba, among other countries, and I was curious whether if I ticked this box, whether they would refuse me to go into America. I'm not sure, but they are asking this question. Among others, they are asking whether and you have to know where you are staying. So you have to be clear about your address of the hotel or whatever place you are staying at in America.
I see. How was your flight? Where did you fly from, and through which countries did you get here?
From Slovakia, so I originated here, but my flight was from Prague and through Zurich and then to Miami. I started in Slovakia, took the train to Prague, and from Prague to Switzerland. It was easy, of course. It's an hour and something. In Switzerland, you have just to transfer at the airport, and then took the nice flight to Miami. And for me, the flight was amazing. More on that later, why it was so amazing, because we chose a good date. But the flight was amazing because it was almost clear. It was almost empty. I had all the space in the world to sit there and actually to lie there.
Oh my God, I love that. I wish I had one flight like that at least someday. Usually when I fly to Europe or back, it's always so packed and full, and I'm so exhausted after 8 or 10 hours flight, and then another 2 hours waiting for the customs. How was your customs experience? Did you have to wait for long? What questions did they ask you?
It was fairly easy. I would say arriving to Miami airport, there was not too many flights. So the hall where we were waiting for the customs was fairly empty. It was like 1/3 of what's normal there. And when we came to the end of the line, there was actually a nice customs officer. He was just asking basic questions. And I have seen on his face that he's a good guy, because there were some other guys who I would not like to go to. But this guy was asking all the nice questions to the previous passengers. I have seen their faces. When I came there, he was just asking where we are staying. He wanted to have the exact address. He wasn't satisfied with some blunt answer, the name of the street. He needed to know exact address. But that was all. He was just asking for the nationality. You have to give them your fingerprints, and that's it.
It was a pleasant experience.
It was fairly easy. One thing which was not pleasant there was that we just arrived and the weather was quite different compared to Europe, and we felt a little bit dizzy, almost like as at the earthquake. We felt like the floor was moving a little bit. I don't know if it's just because it's the airport and it was a big hall, but that's what we felt there.
Interesting. Well, the climate also here is very different. It's very humid. It's a little bit of a shock. I remember first time getting out of the airport, I felt like I just entered like a steam room. And I remember when you got here, it was quite rainy, week or two. So the humidity was probably like 100%. What were your first impressions of Miami?
I have to be honest, right? Sure. First impressions, like at the airport, I saw already some commercials at the customs clearance, and I felt like, are they trying to tell us something? Because those commercials were promoting the life in USA. I was like, they are already trying to program something into my head. But I stayed positive, and my first impressions right after that was fairly, I wouldn't even say fairly, well, it was great. Because first thing we took a cab, a taxi, and went straight through the city towards our hotel, and I've seen all the lights, and although I was so exhausted from all the traveling, I was already happy to see all of that. It was not a new experience for me. Of course, I've been in many cities, traveled the world, I could say. But this city was a dream come true for me. I already felt like this is my dream and it's happening. So that's how I felt at the beginning.
Have you been in the United States before?
not there. I traveled like London, Madrid, and most of the huge European cities, Dubai, and sort of other gems.
So this was your first American city. Did you always plan to visit Miami first, or was it basically because of the tickets that you decided to come here? Or have you planned maybe visit some different place if there was opportunity?
Yeah, for me, Miami was the goal. I still would like to see the rest of the cities like New York, LA, and some more of Florida. But Miami was my goal. And yeah, I'm happy that I went there for the first time.
Okay. Was it according to your expectations?
Okay, that's a huge question. Most of it was. And let's say what wasn't was the weather. That's what surprised me. I was totally surprised by the weather. For me, it was like a dream country because I thought it's always good weather there. But for me, the weather just played a trick I didn't expect. So a few days actually at the beginning of our trip, it was raining, quite heavy. Some people even told us about the floods, but the floods were not there at this point, so we didn't experience that. But yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, I remember it was very unfortunate that that heavy rain period came exactly when you got here, because Miami is a totally different experience when it's nice and sunny, which for the most part it is most of the year. And but yeah, the weather here is actually unpredictable. Sometimes it's raining here, and then on the other side it's sunny. So, but it gets floody. You know, we're getting hurricanes here as well. The hurricane season starts in like June and ends in December, basically. So it can happen anytime, which obviously brings rain and wind. So, but that brings me to another question, which is what shocked you about, let's say, American culture or people? If there is anything, I mean, besides the weather, was there anything that you were like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that?
Okay, thinking about it retrospectively, I knew about most of the things that I would experience there, but having the hands-on experience, that's what surprises you. So, for example, the people there were like multiple experiences that I still think about what that meant and is it so different and why was it so different? So, for example, and I don't mean it in any offensive way, but if you have ever played the GTA game, I'm sure you have heard about this comparison. But yeah, the people actually on the streets, I don't know if they were recorded, but in that game, people are just different. And in Miami, it's the same. Sometimes, especially during the nighttime, that's what you can experience on the streets. People are walking in this way, they are talking to each other in this way, and it's so different compared to Europe. That's what surprised me. There were like other nuances about the people. For example, when you go through the streets in Europe, in Slovakia, Czech Republic, wherever in Europe or wherever I've been through previously, people they are mostly minding their business, but they occasionally look at you, smile at you, and even talk with you if they find something interesting. But here in USA, in Miami, what I found was that people never look you into the eyes. That's what I experienced. I don't know if it's normal, but we were seeing this like over and over.
Interesting. Interesting. For me, I remember a shocking thing was the prices, definitely. I remember my first time in a bar, like the first night I got here, and we got 2 glasses of wine and bruschetta, and the bill was $45. And I was shocked. And also, when it comes to clubbing, I was surprised that a lot of places had really strict, dress codes for ladies. They must have heels. The guys have to have, closed shoes, Most of the places, girls don't pay entrance, but then the guys basically pay a very overpriced rate to get in, which I guess covers the girls. So that was something that I haven't experienced before. I'm sure there is places in Europe that do have this, but for me that was something that really shocked me.
Shocked me as well. The clubbing space, as you mentioned, that it's so different to Slovakia and to Europe. Like the prices that you have to pay as a man to enter the club. That's something which surprises us. Also, the people who actually are there, it looks quite different.